Hello, welcome back to The Reading Mama. My name is Heather. I am Mama to 8, and here I share about books that I love. And today I want to dive into sci-fi. Now, I just recently dove back into the world of sci-fi for the most part. About a year and a half ago, my father passed away. He was very much into sci-fi, and after his passing, I went into, well, let's be honest, I went into dystopian YA for like mind-numbing reading that just kind of numbs out the world. But I wound up going to some sci-fi books because they made me think of him and I enjoyed them. So I wanted to share 4 series that are YA middle grade that really got me kind of back into the swing. And now I'm looking forward to reading more grown-up sci-fi. And I'll share the 2 that I started with this year and looking for some suggestions for more because I really hope to do Sci-Fi September here on BookTube. So let's start with the 4 middle grade YA choices that that really got me hooked. Uh-oh, baby problem. Okay, so first up was Moon Garden by Michelle Berry. Moon Garden is a middle grade sci-fi retelling of A Secret Garden. And so you follow a girl, like they each have magical powers. That's what kind of got me, like, is this fantasy? Is it sci-fi? I don't know. They live in outer space. Earth has been contaminated. They kept changing the environment and whatnot so that it became unlivable. And now they live in outer space and they don't have any plants because they're in outer space. They're living on Venus, Mercury, the moon, obviously Moon Garden, they're living on the moon. There's some other settlements out there also. And you follow this girl as she discovers a garden on the moon, and it's a forbidden thing. And I'm not going to go into it very much more. It parallels Secret Garden in interesting ways. I really loved Moon Garden. I really loved the second book in this series. And third one, I DNF'd. I think it's just not the right time. I don't know. It was getting a little too climatology for me and I just didn't care for that. But so Moon Garden was a great option for a middle grade sci-fi introduction. Very easy, simple. And then I went into some books that I didn't realize were series. So I started York by Laura Ruby, which is another middle grade YA sci-fi. And you've got like time travel, parallel universes, and just very interesting. It's set in a different kind of New York than what we live in currently. And you have a mystery that's being solved by these big things going on. And I've read it, it's been a while, so I can't give you any more specifics than that, but it was very fast-paced and it was enjoyable. You get sucked in and you really, you just want to know more. And so you're just trying that mystery thriller and kind of mentality with York and the entire series. Then 2 that I didn't realize were series at all, and I was very frustrated to learn that they were series that are not finished. Why do I do that? So first was the series that, and I don't know what the series is called, but the first book is Calculated by Nova McBee. And here you have these people who are like prodigies and they have different special talents that is used by different companies and the government throughout the world. And the main character is taken into the seedy underbelly in China. And you follow her just escape from that life. And I don't know, it was really deep, kind of like relationship issues with family. It wasn't heavy on the romance or anything like that. And it was a good YA book, but it was definitely like it was a thinker because there was just so much going on. Again, very fast paced, loved all 3 books, desperately waiting for the 4th book. So Miss Nova McBee, if you see this, please publish that soon because that series was wonderful and it left on a cliffhanger. So I love that. And then I have this one, and I don't know, this kind of toes the line between dystopian and sci-fi, but The Book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence is another series, and it could also be fantasy. I don't know what you would call it, really. It centers around libraries and books, and they have different powers, and they have multi-universes across the series, and it was just focuses on the power of words, and how withholding them or giving power to them, to the people through them, how that affects the infrastructure of society. And very, very hard hitting. Loved it. Would say YA, definitely not middle grade. Again, not super heavy on the romance, but it is there. But it was wonderful. But again, it is not finished series. So if you don't want a series that's not finished, don't start it. And so those four were just so wonderful. And like I said, they were series, so they got me into the sci-fi kick. And so then I tried another one that was a middle grade. Because, got to start small before I start biting off, like the Sanderson things, because those are mammoths. And so I did Las Quintista by Donna Barbahiguera, and that was amazing. It was so weird though. So you basically are following this group of children who are leaving Earth because a comet is coming and it's going to destroy all of Earth, and they're being sent to another settlement. But what you discover in the process is that they are losing their memories of Earth in that process. So they're like put to sleep for the travel, and when they wake up, they won't have any memory of it. Except for one girl, she still has memories. And so to keep them alive, there is an element of storytelling, which is the Quintista part. And it's just, again, power of words and power of storytelling and how that impacts our lives. And you've got, again, kind of a dystopian tie-in with sci-fi, which is just kind of where I like to land. But it was wonderful. Great middle grade. I did not read the second book in the series yet. It is on my TBR. And I don't even know how to say the title. It's like Abijeres. So yeah, I'll have to come back when I have time to read that, but I can't right now. So after I read all these middle grade and YA ones, I was like, okay, I'm ready for some grown-up science fiction, if you will. And so I started Dune. Dune was an homage to my father. He loved Dune. He loved the movies. He loved the books. And so I read Dune, and it took a while because it is a beefy book. Let me grab it. Beefy. And it was wonderful. So I did it part, audiobook, and part reading it, because I just sometimes I just switch back and forth. The audio version on Libby is dramatized, and it is amazing. Highly recommend. But the book is really well done. It is just very interesting. If you've seen the movies, newer or older, you spend a lot of time comparing, well, that wasn't in the movie, or this was, oh, they followed it. And I feel like for it being a chunky movie, the newer movies did a pretty good job. But it's a chunky movie, you can't do it all, or chunky book, so you can't do it all. But it was such a great story. And again, it does have those dystopian vibes. Maybe that's what I like. I don't know. I guess that's all I like, maybe even in sci-fi. But you follow Paul Atreides and the Atreides family as they take over ownership of another planet, which is producing spice. And basically they've taken it over from their arch enemies at the behest of the Emperor. And it's all a big setup, and their family and all their soldiers, it's just like what do you call it? Like an ambush. They're destroyed. And then he falls in with the native people, the Fremen, and begins working with them and becomes part of their culture. And there's some mysticism and spiritualism in there, and I don't know. It's got a lot going on. I don't think I can touch on all of them. I am still working on trying to decipher books better. I'm not great at analyzing them, and so I'm working on that. But Dune was it was a really good read, but it was a long one. So in the middle of it, I also tried my very first Sanderson book. So let me grab that. I read Trust of the Emerald Island, or the Emerald Sea. So this book was phenomenal. Absolutely, hands down, best book I read this year, because it is hilarious. And so you follow Tress as she leaves her island for the first time in pursuit of the man she loves, to rescue him from capture. And you have all kinds of crazy things. And so Tress of the Emerald Sea was it's written with so much wit. It's so funny. You don't want to stop reading it. You've got a great plot line going on. It's wonderful. So I highly recommend it. I would say it's YA, definitely more grown up, but I'm giving it to my teenager next year to read, because it's hilarious. It reminded me very much of Lemony Snicket, who our family loves. And so, yes, definitely enjoyed that. And I'm ready to dive into a Sanderson novel that is a little more beefy than that. So if you have a recommendation of where to start with Sanderson, let me know, because I'm a bit overwhelmed by the Cosmere and not sure where to start with that. Also, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching, and please list some of your favorite science fiction that has no spice or very little, and is, I don't know, maybe more dystopian based. I guess we found out I liked. But yeah, give me some great sci-fi, great plots, little spice, no spice. No spice would be best. And drop that in the comments below. Thank you again for watching, and have a blessed day.